Welcome to Cross-Border Compass, the podcast dedicated to guiding European e-commerce businesses through the ever-evolving landscape of international trade. I'm your host, Justin, and today we're tracking a critical topic, US tariffs and European e-commerce, building a resilient cross-border e-commerce supply chain. The global trade environment is dynamic, to say the least, for European e-commerce businesses looking to expand into the lucrative US market. The uncertainty surrounding trade policies, particularly tariffs, can be a major headache. Do you plan to, for long term, where rules can be changed? How do you ensure compliance without joining in paperwork? And how do you make your logistics agile and quick to adapt to changes? These are the pain points we'll be addressing today, and we'll be moving forward with temporary fixes to explore strategies or even long-term solutions as well, leveraging on tech and smart logistics to future-proof your international expansion. And to help us navigate this complex terrain today, we have Kermit from Zonos and also Aditya from Floship, both innovators in global e-commerce fulfillment. Welcome, everyone.
Welcome. Good to be here.
Thanks,
So,
Justin. Good to be here.
so yeah, I think when we think about tariffs, right, we think about taxes, we think about different ways to manage them, and then almost like because things change very quickly from time to time, and as you know, with the US being as uncertain as it is, how do businesses stay relevant or stay up to date in what's happening with tariff, especially in the US? Comment, please.
I think the critical thing for companies today in navigating all the tariffs, especially the changes, one thing for certain is that there is a lack of certainty in the marketplace today. We have a lot of volatility around the way that the different countries are presenting themselves with respect to how they are going to manage the taxes and tariffs between countries, certainly across the world, and certainly the United States is playing a very important role in that as it looks forward to changing the way that it's handled its de minimis. I think the impending changes in the United States for how de minimis is going to be handled will be quite a shock to the industry to a certain extent. It will certainly be a shock to the American citizens who've not who are not accustomed to paying duty on import of most goods as a result of the high de minimis that they've always had. But as
Got
we
it.
look, go ahead.
Yeah. So, and then with the whole de minimis shifting and changing, how do businesses kind of add transparency to like check when they go to checkout page? Because I think that's what hinders people from checking out. And then how does Zonus bring transparency in that aspect in order to give th their customers the knowledge and insight in order to know where their money is going to and what they are actually paying for?
Absolutely. Well, this is where Zonas has been in business now for more than 15 years, is providing just that transparency through the way that we handle the checkout experience for that international consumer, where we present the landed costs, we present those duties and taxes as part of the checkout experience. So there's full transparency. They know exactly what they're paying for the product, what they're paying for shipping, and what they're paying for the duties and taxes. And currently the way that we actually have structured that is with our partnership with Floship, where all those transparencies are blended together in the services that we provide together.
Awesome. I think that really helps merchants to kind of build that amount into the price as well in order to give customers the confidence that what they're actually paying for is actually what they'll get rather than having to have a huge bill after that as well. So I think we've understood how Zonus kind of empowers businesses with data and upfront cost transparency, but with that data, how do you kind of action on that in order to give customers the best experience or rather brand the experience to sell globally. Ali, I think this question is for you. How do you take that kind of data that Zonos provides to brands and kind of action on that to say, okay, this is how fulfillment will work now for you?
So, thanks, Justin. So, if you look at traditionally fulfillment business are too rigid. So, if you look at the global changing in tariffs, global trade wars, or even any kind of environmental or geopolitical issues, creates a lot of navigating issues for moving out parcels from one country to the other. It depends on sometimes the surcharges go high on the carrier, sometimes the tariffs get applied, sometimes there is a blockage of limited carrier options available. So what Flowship and Zonos brings in together and how we play with the data is basically Floship being a very agile fulfillment network with the global fulfillment services across the globe. Based on the various trade uncertainties, one can easily switch on, switch off different locations, move on to a different locations and start fulfilling from there. With the global carrier networks, if one goes down, the other picks up. So you look at it from a whole ecosystem in a play where all the data, real-time data, is readily available, provided in the system. All the decision making is being made with the help of data, knowing what's happening. With Zonos coming into picture, we providing that real data like shipping cost, HSN codes, classification, product information back to Zonos to give us the accurate information, which we again present back to the customers on a real-time basis, so that when they are taking a decision to ship a product, they already know what's the end-to-end costs or end-to-end transit time or end-to-end fulfillment network looks like. So it basically helps the entire ecosystem, not only the consumer, the merchant, but also our warehouses as well as the carriers in a perfectly match correct information to make sure all the navigation, all the custom documents, all data is presented correctly
Got it.
for smooth clearance of
Got
the
it.
parcel.
And then how does Zonas kind of bring that in, combined with Floship? Is it through integrations? Is it through APIs? How does that kind of whole holistic system come about?
So Zonos and Flowship are tightly coupled
Mm.
partners. So we are fully integrated systems wherein we talk to Zonos systems directly based on any order that comes into our system. We pull in all the real-time calculation and we provide all the real-time information Zonos needs to calculate correctly for any duties, taxes, tariffs, or any other implied government charges to clear the customs. So
Got it.
we basically work hand in hand together to improvise as well as to provide a real-time data to our customers.
Got it. So with this real-time data commit, so how does this act as like sort of a shield, or rather act as is it more of a shield, or is it more of a preemptive warning for brands in order to understand how tariffs work? Or even if this case, if they want to turn fulfillment into a more domestic kind of play, how does Zonos come in and kind of give brands that extra, I'd say, boost, kind of it's almost like a soup like a potion that gives you a superpower in order to make more informed decisions, or manage your tariffs better.
That's a really interesting way to phrase that particular question. So I actually have a three-pronged answer to this particular
Mm.
question, which I wasn't prepared for. So for the audience out there, this is not something that we scripted at all. So number one, from a data perspective, I think it's important to recognize that an API is only as good as the data that sits behind it. And so we've got an entire team of data scientists and global experts that every day are managing this plethora of HS classification type of data, as well as other geopolitical and tariff changes. And we're on the forefront of everything that's happening out there to make sure that those calculations are up to minute accurate at all times. So that's one. The second approach to this has been that when we talk about the calculations or how our APIs provide a shield to the world, um, it's imperative right now that we are providing the consumer the information that they need and the calculations they need so that they can actually prepay those duties and taxes. While that's important, if we don't do it right, if we're not completely accurate, then that takes away from the merchant's profitability in that transaction, because the merchant's collecting those duties and taxes up front. The consumer has already paid them, but at the end of the day, we now have a situation where the merchant is left sort of holding the bag. Well, the difference between us and other providers out there is the Floship Zonos partnership guarantees all those duties and taxes. So we insulate that merchant and that consumer from any potential liability related to a miscalculation or a misrepresentation of those duties and taxes. And then the last thing that I'll just broach the subject here is that with respect to how the industry is dealing with this, we have been Zonos and Flowship. We've been doing this now for several years. We've taken into great account the various platforms that are out there. So we're not just a one-trick pony. We can provide these tools and services to every platform, every website. We can do it very comprehensively in the marketplace. So we do provide that shield of that layer of, that's our superpower, is that we can manage all of this for every account out there.
Got it,
I
got it.
need to add one more piece, Justin, out there to come with this.
Yeah,
For
please.
the consumer, it becomes a shield. Why? Because what you see is what you pay. So consumer is not dependent on any random duties and taxes which a customer may imply, which customs may imply when the goods comes in at the door. So you are already shielded. The merchant is shielded. Not only that, even we carriers like postal or any other carriers, entire network what we build in is basically we support all the networks of the carriers. It's not only the express carriers where you have DDP DDU as an option or DDP DAP as an option, but it's not only that, we support it across all the carrier bands. So
Mm.
that's where the superpower comes in to shield both merchant as well as a consumer with any kind of surprises.
Got it. So would you say it's more like a Batman and Robin kind of team up, or do you think it's more Batman and Batman? You know, like both Flowship and Zonos really have strong complements for each other. That it's almost like um both of you, yes, you can operate independently on your own, but then I think together you kind of like produce something, a product, or rather you're saving brands from the uncertainty of these tariffs and also like global trade wars and economy as well.
I think we're Batman, Superman.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, I mean that
Correct.
really goes to show that yes, although both of you can independently provide value to brands, but I think together it's even more value to the point that that brands have exactly what they need to sell globally or even breach new markets where they find tariffs are too high and they don't want to pay that as well. I think that's absolutely spot on, Kermit.
Now, we also reduce the returns in the global ecosystem. So if you are getting a surprised tariff at the end of the day, sometimes consumer do not accept the goods. We reduce returns overall.
Got it. I think that really shows brands that um despite US being one of the biggest consumer markets in the world, I think with this goes to show that there are other markets out there that you can explore that you should explore as well. So I think that really gives brands the confidence to explore somewhere. So for example, the European market, or even in this case, Latin America, because I understand Latin America has a growing middle class over there where people are more willing to spend. I think that's also something that brands could potentially look at, and also Europe as well as people get richer and then people want to spend more over there. So yeah, I think also this kind of brings me to my last point. So this is all fine and dandy and all, but with tech the way it is, right, as we try and innovate more, as we try and make our businesses more intelligent and more smart, do you think there's an element of AI that's gonna come into this commit, or how does this whole fit into the whole ecosystem. As you know, AI has been tossed around a lot right now. How does kind of Zonos bring that into play, or how is Zonos looking forward to the future for its tech?
So our tools are AI enabled. I mean, just to give you one simple example is with our classification tool. Our classification tool has the ability not only to take a description and convert that into an HS code, but we can do that with imagery. You could actually put a bunch of items on a table, take a picture of it, and our tool will go out there and tell you every single one of those items, what the manufacturer was, where it was manufactured, what the description is, when it was manufactured, what the classification code is, and then we'll also tell you what the duty rate is for the importing country. So our tools are AI enabled, and they're only going to get better as time goes on.
Got it. So Ali, how does Floship bring its own AI capabilities and also automation into the whole kind of scenario of Zones? So how do you play off their automations and kind of improve your automations as well?
So that's a good question. So if you look at logistics, traditional logistics, again, AI can play a role how much the data is cut. Like with Flowship, the data being much more relevant, the data being much more accurate, AI definitely plays a major role in our ecosystem. One, order routing, inventory mapping. Where does the inventory should stay? What is the best optimal inventory location for a merchant? Where does it, how does, or which carrier should be used when an order should be fulfilled? So the entire automation, even including like finding out the accurate carbon emission for a system, like we do play. So if you look at from an operation point of view, yes, a part AI plays typically where inventory is located. How do you organize your bins? How do you organize your warehouse? To that extent. But our AI, when it comes to Flowship, it plays one level up where we actually help optimizing the merchant's inventory, optimizing the merchant's route, optimizing the merchant's locations, and then giving them the best cost optimized, eco friendly fulfillment network.
Yeah, I think that definitely plays into brands, especially going into the European market where they have inventory in different places, and then as Kermit mentioned as well, because when goods come from different places, they pay different taxes and duties, or for example, where they are manufactured as well. So I think optimizing that with AI and optimizing that with tech and automations really plays and really complements each other. That, as Kermit said, it's Batman and Superman, where both of you have superpowers and you're trying to do good and help these brands in the world. So I think, yeah. I think that's pretty much all I have for both our esteemed guests today. So I think to our listeners, if you're an e-commerce business, you're a brand, or you're just looking to go into the market in the EU or wherever you're feeling the pinch of trade uncertainty, or you're just looking to future-proof your business from here on out, I highly recommend exploring our solutions offered by Zonos and Floship. You can find more about them in our show notes. And once again, thank you very much, gentlemen, for your time today.